Hey, what's up? My name is Nelson, and today I am talking about Uncharted. A young, street-smart Nathan Drake and his wisecracking partner, Victor Sully, embark on a dangerous pursuit of the greatest treasure never found, while also tracking clues that may lead to Nathan's long-lost brother. Well, that is all I'm going to say. This is a spoiler-free review. Well, first I'm going to talk about the cast. You got Tom Holland and Mark Wahlberg. We all know those big names in Hollywood, and they are both pretty good for the most part. I'll get into a little bit more of them together a little bit later into the video, but they are both pretty good. Tom Holland, he really, he's just such a good actor, and just seeing him, outside of playing Spider-Man, Peter Parker, he is done pretty well, in The Devil All the Time. I thought he was really, really good in that, and he has really, really come into his own as an actor. Not just solidifying himself as Spider-Man, as good as he is in that role. But in this, I did find myself being like, oh, Spider-Man. A couple times with the action pieces in this movie, just the couple of stances that he made. And this is a Sony project, they're gonna do a few callbacks to Spider-Man in this. And there was quite a few, it seemed like, throughout this movie. But then, Mark Wahlberg, he plays Sully. And I do want to mention that I have never played these video games, so I don't have much to go off of other than things that I've heard since this movie kind of got greenlit and got going. And so there isn't a whole lot of complaints for me from, it not being, close enough to the video game and all that. But Mark Wahlberg plays Sully, and he's kind of just this older guy that very, like it says in the synopsis, very wisecracking. He's got a lot of jokes and stuff, and a lot of his jokes land. And another really big standout for me in the movie was Chloe, played by Sophia Taylor-Ali, and I thought she was a real good part of this movie. I really thought her and Tom Holland worked really, really well together, and it's just you could see some of the attractions the two had between each other throughout, and it really did work. They had really, really great chemistry on screen, and I just really, really liked her character. She was a smart ass, and she knew Sully before. She knew who who he was, and she was trying to warn Nathan Drake about just who he is as a person, and I really did like that part of this movie. It really, really worked for me. But I want to get into the action pieces in this. And to be honest, there was a lot of action, but not as much as I thought there would be. And going into this movie, I was a bit scared of the shaky cam. And it's not that there isn't any shaky cam in here, because there is quite a bit of shaky cam. But a lot of it really works, and that kind of surprised me. I went into this movie being like, this is going to have a lot of shaky cam. And like I said, it did, but it works if you utilize it right. And I feel like in this movie, they utilized it quite well. Nathan Drake is a bartender in the movie. And, he's, in the beginning of the movie, you see him kind of doing, he's making it to work late and stuff. And, because he's doing all this stuff about trying to get information about his brother and all that, so he's late for a lot of things and all that. So he shows up late for work, and he ends up showing up and just coming in, and there's this beautiful woman there, and he's flipping around the bottles of liquor and all that, making her a drink, and I thought that was really cool. And in the movie, without spoiling something, he incorporates his bartending skills when he's fighting somebody, and it was really funny and really, really cool, and I just really, really like that part of this movie. And I really, really like all of the the puzzles and stuff. It felt very Indiana Jones, and I think these games, like I said, I've never played them. I'm pretty sure that they probably feed off of kind of an Indiana Jones type feel, and I really thought that was cool. There's these keys, and they got to figure out all this stuff. And I thought that was really, really fun, just watching them try to figure out all of the stuff that they, just all the puzzles and stuff to figure out, to open up passages and just all of this stuff. The whole thing with Nathan Drake and I think Sam is his brother's name. I thought that was really cool. I've heard a lot of people complaining about that maybe they brought in the brother a little too soon, and but I'm not too sure about all that. But I thought that it really worked quite a bit. Just his motivations throughout the movie. I liked it a lot. Just him trying to get back to his brother that he loves, and that made me really feel for the character and made me care about the character quite a bit. And I thought that was really, really well done. And the way this movie looks, the coloring and stuff, it's really, really bright colors, and we're, a lot of the times we're in the ocean and like jungle areas and beaches and stuff. And just the cinematography for this movie, it looked really, really nice. Another thing that really surprised me about this movie, and I love the way it looked, and just all the wide shots, and just the movie was just filmed very beautifully, I thought. And Nathan Drake, I like how Tom Holland, he's so smooth in this movie. He's tricking people and just the things that he says and all that. It with him and Mark Wahlberg, Sully working together, just for the most part, a lot of them being together really, really worked with some of the humor. And with the humor, that is probably like some of my favorite parts of this movie, just how funny it is. It was a lot more funnier than I thought it was going to be. A lot of the jokes landed, especially between Mark Wahlberg and Tom Holland. They really, really worked off of each other pretty well when it came to the humor and stuff. But getting into some of the negatives. Speaking of Tom Holland and Mark Wahlberg, a lot of the time they're really, really good in this. But it seemed like some of their lines together, some of the time they just didn't seem to have all of the chemistry all together. For the most part they did, but a lot of the times some of the dialogue delivery, just when the two are together, it seemed to me, sometimes it just didn't work. At least it didn't seem like in the beginning. It got a little better as we went. And some of the CGI was a bit iffy. Again, for the most part, it looked pretty good, but some of the CGI was just it just didn't look very great. And it isn't paced great at times. Like, I did feel the time a couple times. Like, I feel like you could have maybe knocked off 10-15 minutes of this movie, and I feel like it'd just been a bit tighter. But and some of the things, it kind of just fell perfectly into place, and it just kind of was like, I was like, oh, that's super unrealistic. But I mean, it is a movie. That is something I can, get over. It's some of the stuff, it was just kind of like hard to imagine that even being possible. Again, I don't want to get into it because of spoilers. But overall, this was a really, really, really fun movie, and I am super surprised about how much I ended up enjoying it. But for my score, I'm going to give it a 65%. Like I said, I'm really surprised. I mean, we had great actors in this movie. You got Mark Wahlberg and Tom Holland, and they're both really great, and I love them in pretty much everything they're in. But I wasn't, like I said, I don't play this game. I've like I said, the only thing I've heard of this game is basically just from when this movie got greenlit and got started, and I heard Tom Holland was going to be in it. That's when I kind of started reading up into the video game just a little bit, but I really did end up enjoying myself in this movie, and it's a lot of fun. And I definitely recommend going to see it in theaters. It's a really, really good time. And if you like what I'm doing on this channel, like and subscribe. Follow me on Instagram at Nelson Reviews. I've been doing a little bit of movie news on there, just a little bit of stuff, out there in the world, out there in the movie sphere, just putting some things that I think are cool on there. So please follow me on there, and follow me on Letterboxd at Nelson48. Peace out.